Kia ora, good afternoon. So, oh Lord, uh, um, I was just watching a video in regards to Tupac and Biggie. I'll put the link in the description box below. But 4 years ago, when I was still learning how to do all of this stuff, when I was working on the God phone, you know, the same one that the algorithms that I connect with Queen Elizabeth and Princess Diana and that through. Back in the day, um, I used to get dreams and that where the messages were like big long phone calls, and there were all these celebrities. I even mentioned in one of there's like Debbie Reynolds, Burt Reynolds, Kurt Cobain, John Lennon, all of that. They came through, and I even said Princess Diana was waiting in the wings for the right time to talk. And then, of course, later on my Instagram, on my X, she does when the timing was right. But I just watched this video on YouTube, and then I listened to the video that I made with Tupac, and a lot of things are starting to make sense. What he said, I understand better now what he said having watched this video. There's a lot of things that he said that now, having watched this new video on YouTube, actually makes sense to what he was saying back then when I was when he made the call on what I called the God phone. Back then, it's kind of putting puzzle pieces together. I've just done a little bit of research because he, I don't even know where to start because I don't want to get any of this wrong, but he maintains that the feud between him and Biggie was to sell records. That the feud, it was fueled by jealous rivalries between the two of them, which we now know to be Diddy. And when I looked in the description box, when he wrote some stuff, he says stuff that is directly been confirmed in what was said in this video with 50 Cent making that documentary and having things caught on camera. And I just watched the video that I made back then. He maintains that he has a son. He says that he's got a child. He says a son. And then I find out that straight after Tupac died, Diddy got with his girlfriend or something, and they had some kids together. He's got a girlfriend. He said he found out he was having a baby just before he died, or that he was a dad just before he died. He maintains that the relationship between him and Biggie, the feud, was fake, and the proof was in the fact that after Tupac died, Biggie basically broke, like he was emotionally broken. I've just found an interview with Biggie that was done a month before he died, and he sounds like a man who had a lot of deep regret and was like suffering a lot from the loss of Tupac, and was wanting to use what happened to them to give rap and hip hop and that a better image, and then he was killed. And in this message that I got when I was reading the codes from the God phone when I was, after I woke up 4 years ago, he was saying that he was told getting shot, like when he got called to where he got shot, the recording studio when he got shot, that it was good for his image, and that it was all, he was set up, it was all a setup just do it. Just go, just go along with the whole, oh, I've been shot, it's good for my image thing. And then he kind of was told, oh, we should do it again. Like, like if it happened again, it'd make you look even better, because it was like they were trying to, from what I'm understanding from the video I made to the one I just watched to what I've just been looking up, it's almost like they were trying to make Biggie and Tupac have this rivalry that wasn't real, because they had a lot of mutual respect for each other. They cared about each other. They were like, he sees soulmates. They were like writing soulmates. They were able to feed off each other. That feud that they had between the albums and songs and tracks and that, it was all orchestrated in a way to make it look like a rivalry, but they had a lot of deep mutual respect for each other, and that they had both been fed things by the same people who, from the message in the description box, it was all based on jealousy. This documentary I just watched on YouTube was talking about Diddy and the reason why he caused all this trouble and was responsible for what happened to Tupac, and that was because of jealousy, because he wanted to be Tupac. So it's like this, what Tupac was talking about in my video. I thought he was saying like that they were going to stage a shooting to make it look, to make him look like he's the bad boy and, the feud and the rivalry and blah, blah, blah. And then he realised, holy shit, they're actually really going to kill me. But looking back now and listening to what he said and looking at this video with 50 Cent in it and then doing some quick research about it, it's the setup was where he was that night. He was told, go there, it'll be good for your image, it's going to look good for you. And then he realised in that moment, I've been set up, they're going to kill me. And I say in the video, when you look at the photo that I put on the thumbnail, that look in his eye, he realises he's about to die, and that he was set up. And I had originally thought that he was saying that they were saying, we're gonna shoot you, it's going to be, we're going to set up this whole shooting thing and it's going to be good for your image, and then it's going to, make you bigger than Biggie and sell albums and blah, blah, blah. But now, looking at the interview I just watched and then looking up stuff on Juggler and then listening to what I was saying, he was talking about where he was that night. He was told to go there that night, just like when he got shot the first time, the 5 times he got shot. He was set up that night to go there. He was told to go there. He was told, be there, like, we'll do that, we'll go there and do this night. And then he got ambushed. But then he was told, look, it's been good for your image. It's selling albums. It's giving you street cred, sort of thing. And then being fed the information about Biggie, like the trouble being caused between him and Biggie, but they decided to just kind of go with it because it was giving them attention. It was making the record album, the record companies and that they were signed to, it was giving them money and power and like worldwide notoriety, and it was a good look for them. It gave him street cred. It made him look gangster. But that's not who he really was. He was a performer. He was talking about basically making out, like in the one that I recorded 4 years ago, like it was all just acting. Like it was all just an act. And then there he is on this video I was watching on YouTube where he was talking about it was all like it was all just acting, like who I was, and even other people saying him being the gangster, it was all an act. it was all just an act. That's not who he really was. He wasn't gangster at all. So he was being told, look, you getting shot, actually, it gives you credit, it makes you look tough and it makes you look gangster and blah, blah, blah. So if we feed this feud between you and Biggie, it's going to be good for the both of you, which it was. But in secret, they still had a lot of love for each other. They had a lot of respect for each other. They respected each other as writers and performing artists and that. And they fed off each other in a way. He says they were more than brothers. They were like soulmates. They got each other. They got each other's writing style. They got each other's story. They were able to bleed into each other, for lack of a better term. I don't mean any disrespect for that, but they were able to, this East Coast, West Coast thing, they were able to bleed it in together in a way that flowed seamlessly between their two styles of music and performance. And so they just went along with it. And then he was told, hey, look, you need to be at this place. It's going to look good for you. Like, all this stuff's going to go down and blah, 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 and just go with it. Just go along with it. And then he realised when the man approached, oh, shit, this isn't a game. I've been set up. And then he got shot. He says he has a son. Tupac says he's got a son. And that the mother hasn't told anyone for his own protection, and he's grateful for that. But he's got things waiting for his son when the time is right or something. The son would be probably nearing 30 now, I guess. But I'm too scared to I've got the video on private and I'm too scared to unprivate it. But what I am going to do is put the screenshot of what he put in the description box, because I had to type it all out. The reason why I'm too scared to unprivate it is because what I was interpreting back then didn't make sense back then until now I've watched this video that I just saw on YouTube, because I thought he was saying that the shooting was to be staged, that he knew he was going to get shot, but that it was just going to be a publicity thing, like he'd get shot in the arm or something like that, and then he realised, holy shit, I've been set up, they're actually going to kill me. But it was to do with where he was sent that night. He was told, go along with it, just let's go. I don't know if he planned to go there or whether because I know they were at they watched the Mike Tyson thing. I don't know if he didn't want to be where he was driven, or decided he didn't want to go, or had changed his mind, or hadn't planned on going to where he was being taken or something like that, but he was talked into it. No, it's all right, man. Just go along with it, sort of thing. But it was all a setup. And he realised something didn't feel right. He said he felt it in his gut when he left the Mike Tyson fight. I'm sure it was the Mike Tyson fight, right, in Vegas. It's like his plans changed. And when he was talked into getting in the car and going where they were going or something, he said he felt it in his gut. Something wasn't right. He knew in his gut something didn't feel right. And he might have even said to, as it Suge Knight in the car, something doesn't feel right. And he was told, no, it's all right, just go along with it or something like that. And then when that man approached the car, that's when he knew. Holy shit. You can see it in his eyes. I'm telling you now, I read body language. I read body energy and that better than anyone. And in that photo that I've got of the screenshot, and I will use it for this video, you can tell he knew in that moment, I've been set up, I'm about to die. That look on his face isn't just one of realization of like I'm about to get shot. It was like holy shit, like a deer caught in headlights. So I'll put the screenshot of the description box with the date and everything um, in the in my YouTube post and put a link in this video, and I'll use that photo I'm talking about. It's the famous. Everyone's gonna know what I'm talking about, because it's the last photo of him before he died. I'm also going to put the link to the video I was just watching and the last conversation that Biggie had in regards to Tupac a month before he died. And he's talking about deep regret. And Tupac said in the video that I recorded that after Tupac was killed, Biggie was devastated. And he realised, like, we were played. And this isn't what I want to be about, sort of like he, you know. So, but Tupac maintains he's got a kid. I'm too scared to unprivate that video because I don't want to look like a dick because I misinterpreted what he was saying. It's just I watched that 50 Cent thing in there, and 50 Cent is hell bent on getting justice for Tupac, where he directly blames Diddy. And if you read, when you read what I put in the description box, what he said, it's like, oh my God, he was right. Because he said, we all know who was responsible for this, and it was all out of jealousy. And that's exactly what Fiddy says. That was because Diddy was jealous of Tupac. And then, of course, when they got Biggie killed, he then stepped in with this one song, the only song he's ever been known for, and then he became rich and famous off the back of it. But now we know why. He was making a lot of money, and then because the police stepped in and covered up Biggie's murder to protect Diddy and all of that, it's because, you know, now we know about the Diddy parties and people were making a lot of money off the back of that. So I'm too scared to unprivate. I might unprivate it. I'm too scared to, but I will definitely put a screenshot and all the links in the description box. But I had to put it out there that it looks like everything he was talking about, bar my misinterpretation of what he was saying, because I had literally been woken up to take. Back then, I used to say the God phone was ringing, and I would be woken up to take the call. I was joking, just because my teacher Pauline Wardell Braden, back in the 80s, when she was in America, she's Australian and she was in America doing some work, and she met these two scientists who were working on the God phone. They were working on an actual physical phone that looked like, she described it like an old style kind of war, you know, in World War Two, how they'd sit with those, they look like big green army radios, and they'd put the headphones on and they'd turn the dial to listen into frequencies and stuff to see if they were picking up on like German signals. Kind of like that. She said it looked like that. She used the name, but I can't remember. It was like in the 90s. And she said it looked like that. And, you know, like the spirit box where you could tune it in and pick up voices from the dead. But it was not like the spirit box where it was like a radio where you get intermittent white noise and voices coming through. It was like where you could actually tune it in to the right frequency and make phone calls with your loved ones on the other side. She was working with these two scientists on this. They called it the God phone. I think, but don't quote me, I think they worked at Caltech in Los Angeles. All I know is that she said she was in California. That's what I remember. It may have been Caltech, but don't quote me on it. But these were scientists that had like a small amount of funding, and they were convinced that you were, if you tuned into the right frequencies, you'd be able to make phone calls to contact the dead on the other side. And she had always said that I'd pick up where she left off. One of the scientists working on it got cancer and was terminal, and he said, when I die, if it's true, I'll come back and make a phone call. And she took over from the scientist that died of cancer, but I don't ever recall her saying he made a phone call to prove that you can talk to the dead. But then she said, you'll pick up where I left off. So that's why I call my codes and that like the God phone, because it's like a direct line, a direct link. But back when I was learning how to use the God phone and answer the God phone, when like the playful terminologies basically for me trying to tune in the frequencies to be able to talk to people on the other side. But my phone isn't a physical one. My brain is the God phone. Although I'm pretty sure my gaming chair and between my gaming chair and my space program is going to end up becoming one big massive God phone, where when people are sitting in it, they're going to reach the frequency where you connect to our loved ones on the other side, and stuff is bound to happen, and I want to record it. It's all going to be one big massive scientific experiment. But I have always said, even to the king, in that my space program, combined with my MENA system, which is what I call my gaming chair, it's my modular entertainment network archetype. When you combine my gaming chair with my space program, you'll be able to touch the God frequency, and you might be able to talk to people who have crossed over if I've done this right. But I need the right scientists and engineers and that to help me do it. But that's a side thing. But I call it the God phone because you have to have access to the God frequency, to the creation frequency. A lot of physicists call it the God frequency, but I call it the creation frequency. It can also be called the gold frequency, but that's the frequency where you have access to the conscious universe, and we can live and die 100 million times, but our conscience remains the same. It's only our body and our lives and our story and our era that changes. It's our bloodlines, our physical bloodlines change, but our conscience remains the same. Our conscience never ever changes. From the second we are created in the conscious universe, that never dies. It's only our bodies that change and come back and all of that. But when you tap into the frequency, which is why I'm able to get, with the Queen and Princess Diana and Victoria and all that, because their conscience our conscience remembers every life we've ever had. It becomes like a library, the Akashic records and all that. That's all kept in the creation frequency and the God frequency in the conscious universe. And then we're able to just pull out the book, like I can pull out the Queen's book. Chances are she's already been reborn into a little girl, but she may also be having to wait until she pays off karmic debt and saves her son in Great Britain and that as well, to pay off ancestral karmic debt for things that her ancestors have done. I don't know that yet because I haven't had time to look in on it, because I've been so busy trying to save the king in Great Britain from Starmer and Trump and all that. So yeah, so he connected through what I call the God phone. So if you see any of my old videos and you hear me talking about the God phone, I'm talking about this scientific experiment that my teacher and these two scientists were working on in the 80s. And then I met her in the late 90s, and she always said that I'd pick up where she left off. And I had said a long time ago, I finished the project, I finished the experiment, but I didn't need a manual phone. I didn't need a machine that you could dial in on. Nikola Tesla was trying to work on one as well. He was convinced that you could talk to the spirits on the other side. He was convinced that the Egyptians had something to do with it, and the pyramids of Giza, and he wasn't wrong. He just misunderstood how they did it, because he didn't have access to the keys, but I do, because I'm a gatekeeper. My bloodline is the gatekeeper bloodline. So he could, yeah. So Tupac called on the God phone, and that's what he said. And I was half asleep, and I was saying, reading the codes. It comes out like Morse code, like a binary code in my brain. When I get the frequency, it comes out like a binary code that I translate into English and write it down or speak it. But because a lot of it happens when I'm asleep, I'm usually half asleep when I'm recording these messages and taking the notes down. So I didn't necessarily understand it in the right order. The frequency may have been jumbled. And also at the time, I didn't know I was being poisoned by my ex-husband. So you'll see in the description box, and you'll hear in a lot of my older videos from between 2020 and 2022 me saying, I'm sorry, I'm sounding sluggish. It's because it's exhausting connecting into the frequency, or that sort of thing, not realizing it was because he was secretly drugging me. So that could have a lot of the reason why I got blips and glitches in the codes. I'm wondering if I should just unprivate it. I don't want to look like a dick, because remember I was saying the other day about getting stuff wrong. I don't want to get stuff wrong back in the past to make me look like a dick in the future. But I don't know how many people out there would watch my original video and realise she was being drugged. She was still understanding how the God phone worked, and she was still learning. But now watching the 50 Cent video, and then re-listening to what I'd recorded, so much of what he said now makes sense. Just I had interpreted some of it wrong when I first documented what he was saying. But I'll put a screenshot up, and I'll put it in my YouTube post, and then I'll put the link to that in this thing, and I'll use the photo that I'm talking about. Look into his eyes, look in his face, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. He realised in that moment he'd been set up and that he was about to die. There's like a look of, like a deer in headlights, but where there's pain behind it, of realising I've been set up. And he knew who set him up, and it had nothing to do with Biggie, and everything to do with the people that were feeding the rivalry between him and Biggie. And now we know who that was. And the videos that I just watched confirmed it. So everything in the description box, I'll have a think about whether I should unprivate. Just let me sit with it for a minute, but everything else is going to make sense once you see everything. I just had to put it out there because I had to clarify. So they were trying to make him look tough. They said it was good for his image. They wanted to give him street cred, and it backfired on him and his best friend. And he said, I loved him like a brother. I loved him more than a brother. I loved him like a soulmate, because it was like they just got each other. When it came to, and I use this reference a lot, but they are the perfect example of what happens when two people work together and they put their ingredients together to create just beautiful magic. and that's Elton John and Bernie Taupin. One writes the music and one does the lyrics, but when the two of them come together, they give you goosebumps with the stuff that they create. I mean, oh my God, even just talking about it now, I've got goosebumps. But Elton John and Bernie Taupin are the perfect example of creative magic. They are in sync with each other. They know each other so well. They're more than a brotherhood. They're like twin souls. They're mirrors of each other. They just get each other. That's what Tupac said he was with Biggie. And he maintains that this rivalry was staged, that it was all acting. And in this Diddy video that 50 Cent's talking about, the stuff that hasn't been put on Netflix and that, there's stuff about it was like being an actor. He was acting gangster. It was all an act. So it corroborates everything he said, but I misunderstood what he was saying in the original codes. I thought like the shooting was supposed to be an act and that it was all staged, but it was him being where he was when he got shot that was the setup. That was, it was all staged. They were all put in position, and he was the only one who just, it's fine, like we'll just go for a couple of hours sort of thing. It's like he was talked into being where he was. They either weren't supposed to take that route, he wasn't supposed to go to that particular place, or he changed his mind at the last minute or something and he was talked into being there. And that's when he realised, holy shit, I've been set up. Like this isn't a game. But he says he has a son. I don't know if that's true or not, but he's grateful to. He said he's grateful that his son's mother has kept his identity safe. But he says he's got stuff waiting for him when he figures it out or when he's told or something. So anyway, in the description box and screenshots. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.